Hello and welcome to the Romance Track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Z Martin and Morgan Brice, and tonight we're talking about Valentine's Day and romance and love, love, love. So before we get into it, let's let our panelists introduce themselves, and let's start with Vicki.
Oh, hi, I'm Vicki Locey. I run under the super secret pen name of VL Locey. I write mostly MM hockey romance. I've been writing with RJ Scott. You might have heard of her, here and there in the genre. She's going to boot me in the butt when she sees this. I can tell you that right now. I write with her. We write a lot of hockey romance. I also dabble with just the basic contemporary. I also do some historical, and I also have westerns I'm working on, all MM. I'm a big hockey fan and coffee sipper. And that's pretty much it. Chicken herder, don't forget that.
Chickens need herding too. That's
all the time.
Brittany?
Hi, I'm Brittany Cournoyer. I write in contemporary. I have some romantic suspense, some murder mystery, paranormal. I've written a few books with Sammy C, a collab with Beth Bolden, and I am owned by my border collie, Delilah. She's right there.
There she is.
And there's so many pictures on Facebook. Yes. How about you, Maz?
So I'm Maz. I write paranormal romances with crazy unconventional shifters like centaurs, merman, manticores, and dinosaurs. This is my new series has dinosaur shifters in it, which is my favorite thing, if you couldn't tell by everything I'm ever wearing ever. I really like action adventure too. Like all of my stories have lots of action, lots of pew pew kiss kiss, which is like my new catchphrase. But yeah, I'm pretty jazzed to be here. I'm surrounded by a lot of my favorite authors, people who I'm actually big fans of and good friends with. So it's awesome to be here.
We're glad you are. Lynn?
Okay, so I write under two pen names, Lynn Van Dorn and also Virginia Kelly. Virginia Kelly writes with Piper Scott, and we write dragon smut pretty much. The Forbidden Desire series. Under Lynn, it's all mostly, I should say, contemporary. I pretty much on my fantasy. I'm gonna like keep on the Virginia Kelly side, but we'll see. Let's see here. By day I'm a pharmacist. All my other spare hours are mostly put towards like writing or like being anxious about writing. And occasionally I crochet, and sometimes I knit too. But yeah, I need more hours in the day. I have decided this is what I want more than anything in life. I want more time.
You're the resident flamingo.
Yeah, yes, and of course I am the resident flamingo, yes.
I don't even know if I'm going to ask about that. If you feel the need, just draw one foot up under you at some point in this. We won't judge.
Weirdly enough, I actually do stand like that a lot.
Good for your balance.
Totally serious.
I'm jealous you can do that because I cannot.
I
terrible balance.
I'll notice I'll be standing there with like one foot down and one foot like bent like upward, just because I have no idea. Because I guess I am a flamingo. It was one in a former life.
There you go. There you go. And I'm Gail Z Martin and Morgan Brice. As Gail, I write epic fantasy, urban fantasy, steampunk, and more. And as Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance, which brings us back to this whole Valentine's Day thing. Now, I know we have a couple of people who have written some Valentine-y themed stories. So let's start with those. Who's got something to tell us about with that? Yes.
I was part of the multi-author series Valentine's Inc. It started off as the dating app Valentine's Inc. And then the first one was surrounded by Valentine's Day. And then we went on to summer where they went on a cruise. And then we did a snowed in version. So those are the three Valentine stories I have. And it was like, I think me and like 8 or 10 other authors each time. And those were really fun. those were really fun. And yeah, it was all surrounded. They were all interconnected through the Valentine's Day app.
Cool. Yeah, those are
Yeah.
so much fun. Who else had something?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so shortly after I published my first novel, I was invited by Nora Phoenix to be part of a giveaway, and I had to give away a book, but I only had one book. So what I did was I wrote a 30K novella in like a month, which is for me is like crazy. And I wrote it about Valentine's Day because that was about the time that the giveaway was going out. And so I took characters from my first book, one of which has just a tiny bit of screen time, and it's mentioned that he's in a relationship. So I came up with a story of how he became in his relationship over having the worst Valentine's Day party experience ever, where he's pretty much in this really rich guy's house, gets super, super drunk and at a Hollywood party, and then basically starts like drunk hitting on this person. And then it's eventually revealed that the person he's hitting on and also making fun of his paintings is in fact the rich guy. Yes. And then, daddy stuff ensues.
Ah, okay. Good enough.
And it'll be my mistake.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Anybody else with a Valentine story or an anti-Valentine story?
I need to write one.
I have one coming out with RJ actually, who couldn't be here. I had signed her up, and then I forgot that there's a 5-hour time difference between here and the UK, so she's in bed now. But she's very sorry she missed it. But RJ and I have one coming out actually on the 12th. It's called Valentine Hearts, and it's one of our most anticipated ones. It's actually a wedding novella that takes place on Valentine's, and I don't want to give a lot away because, like I said, it hasn't released yet. The art copies just went out today, but we're really super excited about it, and we think the readers are looking forward to this couple who got engaged in one of our previous series, finally getting to say their nuptials.
Yeah. Anything in your series?
Sorry, were you talking to me? My thing broke up really bad.
Oh yeah, just asking if you have any dinosaur Valentines or anything Valentine-y themed.
You need dinosaur Valentines. I need you to write dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
I don't have any dinosaur Valentine's Day stuff yet. I guess I should make that a priority.
You heard it here first, yes.
Yeah, right?
I've got a short story set in my Badlands series that is a Valentine's Day themed one. And it reunites two ghost lovers who have been separated since World War II. So it's kind of, sweet and ghostly and all of that. And that one's free on Prolific Works because I did it for a giveaway last year for Valentine's Day. So that's our characters experiencing Valentine's Day. But how about you? I mean, love it, hate it? Anybody have a good Valentine's story that either explains why it's great or why maybe it should be banned?
I don't know, but now I want to write an anti-Valentine story.
Yeah, right.
Yes, you totally should. I agree. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Because I did like the anti-Christmas one, so now I feel like I needed to do an anti-Valentine's Day one too.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, the thing with Valentine's Day is it kind of gets a lot of hype, and it's really hard, sort of like New Year's Eve, to ever have the experience that lives up to the TV show and movie version of what you think everybody else is doing when everybody else is probably sitting home on their couch eating chips too. But we get this idea and fun to play with in the books, but just thought I'd toss it out there to see if anybody had one of those real life, either wonderful stories of how you met the love of your life, or maybe a dramatic catastrophe of how it really didn't go well.
I got dumped on Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.
That's wrong.
That's just awful.
That's all. Yeah.
But then I went to the store the next day and bought a ton of candy on sale. So, I mean, silver lining.
That's February 15th is half price candy day.
Yes. I always call Valentine's Day Singles Awareness Day. So, yeah, so that would be really fun to write that.
Everybody knows I'm a huge Supernatural fan, and Dean Winchester always called it Unattached Drifter Christmas because it's a great day to pick up lonely women. Not that Dean Winchester needed an excuse, but yeah, I joke that the first date that I took my husband on, which was around Valentine's Day, every single thing I thought would be tremendously romantic and so exciting turned out to be something he was allergic to or didn't like or
Oops.
He says that
Yikes.
that is dramatic, but I'm a writer and I'm sticking to my story.
It's just good material for later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that
You know-
anti-Valentine story.
I don't have a Valentine's Day story, but me and my husband's first date was probably the worst first date ever.
And yet you married him.
Yeah, and then so the reason it was bad, it was all on my end. So the fact that he called me back, I actually was like, "Are you sure?" Like,
Oh, of an EpiPen, it can't be too.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
Ah, okay.
it was so well, first off, I was really, really shy because I hadn't been on a lot of dates anyway. So I didn't talk very much and it was like really awkward. But then he was dropping me back off at home and my mom called and said that my dad had been arrested and was driving my car. And so I had to go get it out of impound. So I turned to him and I was like, "Hey, you want to do me a favor and take me to the auto impound?"
Because my dad was just arrested.
Yeah, I was like, "So this is what happened." And he was a good sport. He took me there, but we got lost, and so we were lost for like an hour. And then he finally like found it. I was like, "Thanks for the date and the ride." And like went and got my car. And as I was driving home, I was like, "Well, that guy's never gonna call me back." So when he did, I was like, "Are you sure?"
You made it memorable. You cannot forget like the person you take to an auto impound on a first date because their
That is-
dad's arrested.
That is
And you haven't used that in a book yet? I mean, I'm shocked.
Yeah, so anybody can use it. Feel free, because it was. There you go. That's my gift to you.
So what's the craziest thing any of your characters have done on a date or trying to get somebody's attention? Doesn't have to be on Valentine's Day. You know, the spirit of Valentine's Day lives all year, sort of like Christmas.
I can't think of anything.
I mean, my character to decide that they are truly in love with each other in life or death situations as they're chasing down a psychotic serial killer or something, as one does.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I had a character summon a demon, trying to get
Okay.
somebody's attention.
To get his attention?
Yeah, well, not the demon, but that's who his attention who he
That
ended
would
up getting
do it.
anyway. But like, yeah, he summons the demon to try to like get back at his ex, like to make him jealous because he needs a date to a party, and summons a demon as you do.
Mhm.
And then the demon's like, "How dare you?" And also, "Hey."
What's up?
Anybody play against tropes for the meet cutes or how your characters had a memorable date, something that
I had one character who was going to kidnap and kill the other one, but ends up not killing him, and yeah, that was in one of the dragon books because there was a character who had
So romantic.
it's a very
exactly. So the dragon swoops in to like, wearing a really nice Armani suit, swoops in to like take care of problems, and he's like, "Oh my God, cute twink, I have to have him." And so I guess I won't blame him after all. And then basically just keeps him regardless of how absolutely ridiculous he is. And meanwhile, the twink is like a herpetologist, and so he's decided that being kidnapped by a dragon is the best thing that has ever happened in his entire life.
I mean, it would be for me.
Exactly. So that's probably the weirdest get together that I've ever written. I mean, Piper wrote it too, but I'll take half credit for it at least.
okay. That's fair.
I in my collab with Sammy C that we just released, Henchman's Mate, my character is a soul-sucking demon, but a good one. Like, is a vigilante and like kills all the evil people that like escaped. Oh yeah, escaped like jail and stuff. And a annoying twink who has like 1,000 questions and never shuts up sees him like sucking a soul of his ex-boyfriend, and he has to get kidnapped by the demon to stay alive, basically. And they wind up like finding out they're mated. So yeah, Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the same thing in mine too. Stockholm syndrome. Yes, but I don't know.
Sexy
I like it when the kidnapper or the kidnappee, excuse me, is like, awesome, I've been kidnapped. This is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite tropes. Honest to God, I love it.
Like ours, Darren, he's just like, okay, this is cool. Like, why not? Instead of being terrified, he just keeps asking more questions and is like, all right, this is great. Why not?
So what do you think is romantic? Doesn't have to be what society thinks or what Hallmark thinks. What do you think is romantic?
Taking out the trash.
My husband put a door between my kitchen and my basement while I was at work. This is just when we were dating. And he had to go to work later than I did and had spent the night because we were like, living in sin. Oh my God. Anyway, so I had mentioned how much I hated the fact that there was no barrier between my basement and the kitchen and how the cats would get downstairs and they'd get in my crawl space and it was awful. And then I came back from work and there was a door there. He had put a door, he just installed a door. And I was like, I think I'm in love. So that was the most amazing thing that ever happened to me.
I think it's like the little things, like not the stuff that's unexpected. Like flowers, I would kill them in like 2 hours. Candy, I can't really eat it anymore because I have bariatric surgery. Like little things that happen at unexpected times, not because it's like, oh, it's our anniversary, it's a birthday, it's Christmas, like holidays as a holiday by Hallmark. It's just unexpected stuff that they do just because.
Yes, exactly.
One of the most romantic things that my husband ever did. We're going on 30 years. Actually, this June. Yeah. But about 7 years ago, he came home totally unexpected with a little box from Tractor Supply, which had 6 little ducklings.
Nothing says romance in Tractor Supply.
And I was like, because I'm as I said, I'm a big chicken fan and I love my poultry. And I opened that box and there was those 6 little ducklings inside. And I was like, you have just, that's it. You don't have to buy me anything for the next 10 years. And it was just 6 little ducklings, which probably cost, less than $20. But it was, and it just, I was like, oh my gosh. So it is the little things and the unexpected things, not the great big, for me anyway, the big flowery things with lots of preparation. And 6 ducklings, you can't go wrong with 6 ducklings.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think we've done several of these panels now, and somehow taking out the trash has come up on all of them. It's
because no one likes to take out the trash, or mow the lawn, or shovel snow. No.
Or do the dishes.
Or do the dishes.
Or empty the dishwasher.
Or get husband, take her to the impound. I mean, that's romantic.
Yeah, exactly. That is cheaper material right there.
It's like the best story I've ever heard.
No, it's really, I agree.
Yeah, it's very cringy. It's fun. Like that, and that's very much my sense of humor too. Like I like stories that start ridiculous like that. Like any grand romantic, like the story Brittany I forgot who was talking about with the millionaire who he's like hitting on him and he's drunk and it's like ridiculous.
Oh, that was me.
But like that kind of stuff is totally my bag. Like I love that cringe, like you're watching all of this awful shit unfold and you're just going, oh no.
Keep going.
Keep going, but oh no. Exactly. Like I love that kind of stuff. That's just my favorite. I like watching people dig a hole and then somehow climb out of it on top. It's my favorite.
Y'all are friends with me on Facebook. You know my humor.
This is true.
So, self-destructiveness as a trope. What are some of your other favorites?
segue.
Yeah, right. Shit.
Friends to
Are we
lovers,
allowed to cuss yet?
lovers, arrested to lovers. I mean, we've got it all. But what are some of the tropes you love and some of the ones that maybe don't float your particular boat?
I like enemies to lovers. I just like the angry stuff that goes on with it. It's fun. The banter, the fighting. Then you get into like the angry fornication. I don't know if I can say the S word on here. Yeah, that kind of stuff. I like that.
I'm a big age gap fan.
Did Lynn freeze? You lost her.
Oh, yeah.
She'll be back. So age gap. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of mine. That's
Sorry,
probably
guys.
my favorite.
I'm sorry.
It's Zoom. Disappearing people are just part of the checklist. So are cats, So, enemies to lovers, age gap. I'm a sucker for friends to lovers, and I'm a sucker for the mistaken identity or the guy shows up for the wrong date and then it ends up being okay, although it doesn't look like it would ever be okay because they're just totally mismatched, but they really aren't. I mean,
That's
those are
fun.
Yeah, those are
fun.
I'm writing an Enemies to Lovers right now, and it's the first one I've ever written. And I have to admit, it is a lot of fun to write it. Just, two guys who just don't give a shit what the other one thinks about them because they both really don't like each other much. I like it. I like it a lot. There's a lot of honesty that comes out in those circumstances.
Don't you love it? Like I love writing. I love writing banter. That's like my favorite thing ever.
Oh,
Then
definitely.
I feel bad because I'm like over here just going to town on it. My nephew's just like, who are you talking to? I'm like, myself. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun writing snark. I'm a great fan of snark.
I speak it
And the
fluently.
snarkier and sarcasticer, the better.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm working on a shifter romance right now. And of course, that means that if you have two people in the room, you actually have four voices because each of them has the inner, whatever they shift as. Both of them are goats in this story. Just
Awesome.
and so they're having two separate conversations with their inner goat and with each other, and then with their human mind.
I've done Inner Dragon, so I totally know what you're talking about. But what is an inner goat like? Because I really got to know. I mean,
They
inner
scream a
dragon
lot?
is like what you'd expect, but what's an inner goat?
Do they scream?
Do they butt people?
Well,
Or
one-
butt people?
Are they bad?
Well, the one guy got jealous and his inner goat said that he should just shift and gore the opponent on his horns and then
I
throw
like
them
that.
out
Yeah.
on the sidewalk
That is a goat response.
to his mate. And so they have this little discussion about what is acceptable in society and what really isn't. And the goat really doesn't want to hear any of that.
That I believe. I have owned goats. So.
I used to have a baby goat. That thing was annoying. I had to feed it with a bottle.
Why did you have a goat?
Me?
Yeah.
My stepdad used to just bring home random animals. I also used to have a descended skunk
Oh my god.
and a raccoon.
Did
Very
you just,
skunk once,
do you
but I was
know-
like, no.
did you just see them wandering loose and then bring them home, or did you lift them out of pastures, or how does one just acquire a goat?
My stepdad just would bring him home. I don't know where he got him from. He did one day I just came home and he was just holding it. I'm like, is that a goat? And he was like, yeah, his name's Roscoe. And I'm like, okay, cool.
There's probably some better than the inner goat.
We had ours. When my daughter was joined 4-H, and because we live in really rural Pennsylvania, so 4-H and FFA are very big here. So when she decided she wanted to be in 4-H, she wanted goats, and goats are easy to buy here. I mean, you can go anywhere and buy goats, and we started off with one doe and 2 kids, and then somehow about 8 years later we were milking 10 or 15 does, and so yeah, we had quite the goat operation. I actually miss them. Yeah.
Our neighbor
They're good,
reported
though.
us. We lived in a residential neighborhood.
Oh, well, that's
So
a
our
whole
neighbor
other
reported us.
thing, yeah.
You never lived on a farm. Never.
skunk got loose one time. And
Oh
our
my
neighbors
God.
came over and they're like, your skunk's under our car. Can you come and get
We
We were the
have
crazy people.
off this conversation and we're now into goats and skunks, but hey, that's okay because giving your beloved a goat or a skunk or a duckling would be the key.
If
to
I
their
gave my husband a skunk, he would love me forever. Oh my God. But we're illegal in my state, so I don't have to worry about it.
So in that vein, what is the weirdest token of affection that any of your characters have given to each other or that you've gotten, in real life other than ducklings and random goats?
And random goats.
The demon that got seduced brought his human that he was trying to seduce in turn.
He brought him some flowers from hell, but they're from hell, so they were like these meat-eating, venomous nightmare plants. And so he's like, these are for you because I love you.
And the poor human was like, what the fuck are these? Like, why did you bring them into my house?
That's awesome.
That is great. And that's just what you'd expect from
a demon.
mm-hmm. Seymour, feed me.
My characters have never given each other anything odd, and I've never received anything odd. I'm bummed about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I it seems like I should have at some point, but I can't think of anything, which is depressing.
My Witchbane and Badlands series, they tend to give each other protective amulets, and that's really probably a good idea for birthday and Christmas if we want to see them live to the next book. So,
Oh, I just remembered. Okay, so in the last dragon book that Piper and I wrote, the dragon keeps giving his person presents because he's a dragon, and they're mostly gold coins left outside his door and shit like that. Sorry, stuff like that. Sorry. So one day he makes the guy makes a thing about having smoked marijuana in the past, and so he finds a dragon pot pipe, like that's like this gold encrusted, jewel encrusted golden pipe for smoking pot that's shaped like a dragon is gifted to him by this other by the dragon, and
That's
so
rad as hell.
that might actually be the weirdest gift ever, especially since the other guy didn't really smoke pot. He was just like trying to cover up something else with like pot because the other thing was worse than pot.
That is
Anyway,
excellent.
so, yeah.
I love that.
So yeah, I think dragons are weird about presents. So they probably, I guess you could go with that. They're just, yeah, they're very strange. Like either gold or something ridiculous, like an animal or something or whatever. They're just like, here is this thing. I know it is strange, but have it, kind of thing. So that's the fun part about dragons, though, is you could just be goofy.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a lot of fun. Any of your characters go on a date that ended up with, well, like Maz going to the impound, or maybe fleeing from the federal authorities, or running from a drug cartel, or something like that. Normal Friday night.
I had my dinosaur shifter and his human boyfriend broke into a dinosaur theme park on their first date. And that was super fun. And of course they almost get caught and they have to run and hide, and the dinosaur shifter guy is afraid of nothing and just thinks it's a great time, and his poor human companion is a paleontologist nerd who's just like, I've never been arrested for anything and I'm scared. So it was very cute. I loved it. I also want to break into a park, but that's a second date kind of thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it for the second.
Yeah.
So what are your favorite romantic movies or romantic moments in TV show or romantic book written by somebody else? Giving you a wide field to play in here.
I'm a sucker for Hallmark.
Yeah. So I've gathered.
I love my cheesy Hallmark movies. If I'm not watching serial killers, I'm watching Hallmark. Balance. Pretty much the same thing. Would you stop? Someone come get her.
Is your puppy being ridiculous?
Yeah, someone come get her. She's annoying.
So anybody else with a favorite movie or favorite characters on TV that got together?
I am not big into romantic comedies. Like I don't like rom-coms. I'm not a Hallmark person. So when you asked us to like be ready to talk about romantic movies, I was like, oh my God, I have no idea what romantic movies I like. I was talking to my husband. He's like, Deadpool? And I was like, oh my God, Deadpool. That's my favorite romantic movie.
Yeah,
I am almost offended.
Good answer.
Deadpool.
I have a really sick's head love for A Knight's Tale. I can't really justify it. And in my head, there's like a weird kind of like undercurrent relationship going on between Chaucer and the redheaded friend whose name I can't remember. But yeah, I can watch that movie a million times and I love it, even though it's ridiculous.
I've only seen like part of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Oh, you really should.
Hiding.
I mean, nothing else, Heath Ledger.
This is true. This is true. How about you, Vicky?
Oh, well, I was just trying to think. I generally always say that probably, thinking back on it, like most of the movies that I like that are romantic, and to add sadly, Call Me by Your Name, that's probably one of my favorites. That's really sad though.
It's lovely but gut-wrenching.
Oh, well,
I like it.
When I went to see it, I hadn't read the book first, and a lot of times I like to do that, like I'm doing now with oh heck, it's a series I'm watching on Netflix now. I've drawn a
Bridgerton?
The Untamed.
Oh, Untamed.
And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to read the book first, because if I read the book first and I go to the movie and it's not, I get very upset. So with Call Me by Your Name, I hadn't read the book first, and it was just beautiful. And then at the end, it just tore me to bits. And months later, I've watched it a dozen times since then, and it still just tears me to bits. But there was something, again, age gap, but there's something just about, I don't know what it is, those two characters. That's probably one of my favorites, but it's very sad. Brokeback Mountain also. I love that movie.
Okay, the part in Brokeback Mountain where the one guy finds out the other one's dead and he goes into the closet where his clothes are. Oh my God.
I know.
Fell apart.
Best love story ever, though, is the little old couple in the movie Up. I don't care anybody says,
God,
that little montage is like the best love story ever, and it breaks my heart.
I cannot handle that. I can't handle it.
It just guts me too. I mean, that's just so that scene. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So my husband will give me endless shit if he sees me crying in a movie. Like, it's his favorite thing to do is just like wait for me to break down. So we're watching this, and we went into it blind. Nobody had warned us about the beginning of this movie or anything.
Oh no.
So we it's not even till like the sad part of the first 15 minutes of that damn movie. And I'm sitting there like trying to hold it together, right? And then like I thought I was gonna make it until he was like, do you think that's gonna be us when we're old? And I like looked at him, it was just like just lost it. And he was like, oh.
Like the best, I mean, they made the best love story in like 5 minutes in that whole little part right there. Like, I want to just see like the whole movie based on their little love story instead of like the little kid with no neck. Like, I mean, it's just like the best.
I like the dog though. The dog was awesome.
Yes.
Yes, the dog with the cone of shame.
Kevin, I think, was it Kevin? I may be pulling that name out of nothing.
Sorry, my nephew's bringing me food.
The dog, yeah. I think one of my favorites, it's old, but I just love it, is Romancing the Stone.
Oh, yes.
Well, that was definitely a romance novel, I mean, obviously it used romantic novel, tropes, but it was about the romance writer who falls into a romance novel essentially. But yeah, that's a real good one. Old and goody.
Yes, it is. And lots of action as well. So.
Yes.
So we are, believe it or not, close to the end of the hour. So let's go around and have everybody say what your, do you have a new release? Do you have something that just came out? Is just something on pre-order? Is something coming up? Tell us all about it, and then tell us where to find you online. And Lynn, why don't you start us off this time?
Okay, so recently we put out the Blaze Dragon book Finch, but the one we're working on now is pretty big and long, so it's going to take a little bit to do. As far as my own single writing, I'm writing the sequel to one of to the second book I ever wrote. I'm writing the single because I apparently am just goofy that way. And I'm going to recover the first one so that way all three of them look the same.
Wow.
Well, they look like they belong together at least. And so the recover is going to come out along with the audio, God willing, on February 14th, Valentine's Day. And then I should have out the second book with the audio in like April.
How do you pronounce his last name?
What?
How do you pronounce his last name?
Oh, I just say Feriolio.
Yeah, I don't know how. I can't even read it in my head. So I'm like, Michael.
I can't spell it. I can't say. But he is. I swear to God, the nicest man ever. He is such a sweetheart. I love working with him, not just because he's a great narrator, which I really think he is, but he is just a pleasure to work with. I highly recommend him. Only don't take up too much of his time because I need to have him record stuff.
And where can we find you online?
Okay, well, mostly at Facebook, under Lynn Van Dorn. I've got my reader group, the Lynn's Lounge and Twink Pit. And there's always lynn.com, which if I remember to update it. But for the most part, if you want to find me, I'm on Facebook.
Cool. Maz?
Sorry, I forgot I muted myself. I was just about to launch into it. So what do I have going on? So the newest thing that I have is that my Smash and Grab, the first of my dinosaur series, was released on audio recently, the 12th of January, so super new still. And it's my first audiobook.
Congratulations!
Thanks. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud of it. My good friend and amazing narrator Kurt Graves is the one who voices it, and I'm a big fan of his. So
yes, he's
definitely
really
worth checking out.
The only other narrator I've ever worked with was Kurt, and I really have to say, also a great guy.
Yeah, he's super wonderful. I love him to death. So definitely check it out if you like dinosaur shifters and crazy punks and paleontology and lots of deep cut dinosaur jokes.
Hell yeah.
And if you, the other series I have is the Stallion Ridge series, which is a Wild West series with centaurs and mermen. I write books. The 6th installment of that came out in December. So that's probably the newest thing I have out right now. If you like series with an overarching plot that lasts forever, then yeah, definitely check those out. They're super fun.
Cool. Is there a website or something like that we can find you at?
Yeah, so mazmaddox.com. You can get the details on all my books and stuff. But I'm pretty much probably everybody in this group. I'm on Facebook like crazy. You can find me, Maz Maddox. There's one other lady named Maz Maddox, so just look for my cartoon face, and you'll know you have the right one.
Very good. How about you, Brittany?
I just released my collab with Sammy C. It's a paranormal age gap, really funny book called Henchman's Mate. I have book 2 in my Play With Me series up for pre-order right now called Key to My Heart, and it releases February 22nd, and I'm super excited about that. The audio to Play With Me should hopefully come out soon. It's been headed to retail for the last 525 days. Because you know how ACX is, and Zachary Zaba, who narrated for some of Kylene Newholt's books, did that one. I'm super excited about it. That's about my sexy saxophone player with the Greek man on the cover, because yes. And like them, I'm on Facebook probably way too much, though I am. And if you like memes, then follow my page. And I have my readers group, Brittany's Men in Mayhem.
Nice. How about you, Vicki?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? Well, Well, we'll start with, I just recently, a couple weeks ago, had the newest in my Life According to Liam series, which was The World According to Liam, which is a hockey romance, doting uncles and sexy goalies, and they fly around the world with their nephews. It's very low angst, lots of family, precocious child. Then, as I said earlier, RJ and I have Valentine Hearts coming out February 12th, which is also a hockey romance. So much hockey. March, I believe I have Songs of Red Currant Wine, which is also a hockey romance. That's part of my Colors of Love book series. I'll just stop there at 3 months. You can find me at vlocey.com. I'm also, like everybody else, on Facebook, like way more than I probably should be. I would give you RJ's website, but I'm not sure what is rjscott.co.uk, I think. If that's wrong, I'm sorry, RJ. We also have a really lovely group on Facebook, which is MM Hockey Romance. Look that up. We're always doing all kinds of funky, fun things and having parties and general shenanigans. And I also have my own group on Facebook, which is Vicky's Vixens. Again, lots of fun, great readers. Yeah, pretty much it. Shenanigans. Lots of shenanigans all the time.
Yes, all the shenanigans. I'm at morganbrice.com, and my reader group is Worlds of Morgan Brice on Facebook, and everything else is some variation of the name Morgan Brice. But Loose Ends, which is in my Badlands series, just came out on audiobook, so I'm thrilled about that. And Treasure Trail, which is the first book in the Kate May series, also just came out on audiobook. And let's see, we've got, I'm working on that Goat Shifter story, which will be in an anthology that is coming out later this spring. That's a retelling of classic fairy tales with a male twist. And then I've got another book coming out in April that is, let's see, totally lost my train of thought when something flashed up on my screen. Part of the Magical Emporium series, so multi-author series, common prompt, and a magical shop that shows up exactly when you need it, in dire need of something that you don't know you need yet, but you definitely do. So I'm excited about all those things, and I'm thrilled to have you folks here with us today. So thank you so much for spending part of your evening here. And thank you folks for tuning in and listening. We will have a lot more romance here on Continual, so we will see you online. Thanks again.